Hi guys. Good to see you again. This is the next episode of True Fans. Basically, how to create 1,000 true fans. Brought it into a series of videos. This one is on using the 8 levels of address in the marketplace. So in the firm that I worked with, where I ended up getting promoted. Hey, Louis. What's up, Lou? How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Yeah, so one of the things that I learned in the firm I worked for, where ultimately I got promoted up to vice president of business development, lots of fun, lots of hard work, but definitely learned a great deal. But one of the things I learned there, several of the things I learned there are absolutely vital to anyone doing sales. One of the things was you've got to separate the people who are not interested in what you're doing from the people who are interested. And if they're not interested, it's over. Put an end to it. Just thank you very much, hang up the phone. Mostly I would call people that had attended a webinar, that had responded to a message, an article, read a book, and in demonstrating interest to that degree, when we called them, they started discussing what they're doing, why they looked at it, why they got involved, and we quickly got into addressing their situations, their problems, solutions to their problems, and it's very easy to develop that and lead that towards a sale. Not everyone buys, but certainly enough people to buy to get me promoted, right? But yeah, so that was important. So if someone's not interested, do not try to sell them. This is critical. I see this happening all the time. I think I helped one of my customers land a job. She went to it. She was looking for work, and she signed up for my workshop. I worked with her. We got organized. She went to a job fair. I specifically told her, do not go around handing people your resume and your card, telling them how awesome you are and how you can help them. Just don't do it. Talk to them about what they're doing at this job fair. What's the sort of thing a person would need to be able to do to provide the value that they're looking for. And then you quickly find that person interested in you, telling you all the steps you need to take, who you need to call, giving you voluntarily their information and supporting you. She got 6 job interviews, 3 offers, and she took one of those jobs, $60,000, not too bad in Utah. But yeah, and it was because she had that different approach. Instead of, she was looking at establishing interest, establishing what was needed, and that she met those needs. It made total sense to go further, and then she closed it. So those were one of the vital things. Another thing is, don't spend your time with people who may say that they're interested but can't do anything, and they're not going to do anything. They're time wasters, is what we called them in London when I grew up. Total time wasters. Not interested really in actually doing something, but they'll talk and talk and talk and talk and talk until talking is done, and you can't profit from those individuals. Some of them are doing it maliciously. Some are, unfortunately, sometimes are old and enjoy the conversation and not doing very well at their job and not talking to clients and customers. That's for sure. I mean, there's many reasons. Not all of them bad, but you got to concentrate on those people that are engaged and are looking to move forward. So let's go through. Here's this little document. I'm going to read through it and discuss it as we go along, just as we often do. And really think this is going to be valuable to you guys. This is one of the things I've wanted to refer to most when I've been talking to customers, talking with clients, and talking with prospects. There's several people I'm going to want to share this video with when it's done. Because I think it's that important, and it comes up in conversation about business expansion so often. So the 8 levels of address in the marketplace. Not interested, which we already discussed. Just don't engage, drop. There's plenty of time in the day to talk to people who are interested, and you might as well spend your time with those guys. A suspect. Someone you or others suspect will be interested in you, your products or services. This is pretty obvious. Somebody you may know, somebody you've been introduced to. It's something that came up. Obviously, when you're doing lead development and you're talking with somebody, they may not quite, you might not quite establish their full qualifications for your service, right? And they might have to go. They're interested in talking with you, but they can't talk right now. So they give you, they want you to follow up, and you set a time, right? So you suspect that they're going to be a prospect. They're going to be interested in what you have to offer. Sometimes you talk with them and they ask questions about a webinar that they attended, and that's it. They're dropped. Well, thank you so much, and they're going to go on. Fine, you have that call, let it be. You still promote to them, and maybe down the road they'll be more engaged and interested in doing something. But still, at that point, they're a suspect. You suspect they'll be interested in what you have to offer. Next one is a lead, right? People talk about leads all the time, and what I say, it's somebody who is interested. Now, you can, if you buy leads, they've got to be people that are narrow, that suit your niche, right? That when you call them and discuss what you have to offer, when you promote to them, more likely your webinar, your seminar, or your free document that has 3 vital that or 10 key this, and you send it out to leads, they're likely to respond because they meet your ideal client definition, the distinctions, demographics, however you want to call it. So these guys are leads. Also, when people attend your webinar, those are leads. They're automatically interested and they're engaged, right, in what you have to offer, at least at that level. So, but you've got to call them and establish that further interest, establish further engagement with you, with setting up appointments and meetings and conversations, etc., reading materials. Next one is the prospect. This is the big one that people think about, second only to the hot prospect, perhaps, in most people's minds. So a prospect is interested, usually qualified. You've determined that they can pay for the services. They're in the industry that you're servicing, that you provide services to. They meet the demographics or the ideal client qualifications or avatar. They fit your avatar, whatever you want to call it. Whatever. I mean, there's so many terms, but you get the picture. So these sometimes also need help getting more qualified, becoming more qualified. And when you provide webinars, this is the sort of person you can target with an exact message and with exact tools. Very often it's easy for you to give away 3 tools. You might want to break it up in the way you deliver them. But they attend a webinar on the area, and either before, during, or after that process of getting signed up and delivering that webinar, you offer them a tool that they can use. I know one thing that I've been involved in doing is sending somebody a model day, a schedule, particularly financial advisors. Like we would show them how this standard for financial advisors, how they model their day and how they break it up, their day and the week, right? And so that way we send that to them for free. They benefit from that. They've attended the webinar, or they then attend the webinar where we discuss scheduling and breaking up duties and responsibilities, delegating responsibilities to make sure you're not, as a financial advisor, burdened with a lot of the work that your staff can do, right? And we give away for free staff duties and responsibilities for those individual roles for the advisor and for his or her team, right? It's another tool that we would give away for free. And this helps them get organized, create time, get better results, right? Because they're following, they've got some order, some structure, they can think, they're putting control into their business, and they're no longer being entirely reactive to what comes up. It's like, no, that person called, but they can schedule a time during that window that we've outlined for them. And so this puts them in a better position to have that call, have the meeting, have a conversation, be doing it better at business, and ultimately provides what's possible for them to be qualified, to be in a position where they have the time to do what we would offer, and they can also afford it. I know very often we would talk about closing procedures and go through a simplified sales process with clients, and that is definitely would get results and put them in a position to qualify for the 5, 12, 25 grand that we would charge them for our services, different levels of services, obviously. So that's your prospect. Interested and engaged. We've got not interested. Not interested, do not engage these people. We've got a suspect, someone you suspect will be interested in you, your products or services. Lead, a lead has demonstrated interest in your products and services. They've actually demonstrated it. They signed up for the webinar, they attended. If they don't show up, you can even call them, right? And say, sorry that they missed it. You're going to send them a recording, or you sent them a recording, but they've already demonstrated some level of interest, which makes them fall into this category of lead. Now, I made these definitions, right? And I've refined them and specialized them. There are other definitions out there in the world. I know the interested and qualified was what my old boss said, is made a prospect. But I had to do further definitions, right? So this is my distinction. Some of these things I came up with, I was twisting my old boss's arm about suspects, and he wasn't buying it. In the end, he let me do it and discuss it like that for my own purposes. But yeah, so I just want to make sure these are my distinctions. Use the ones that are best for you, but I hope you get the concept and get the idea, and that's the point of this, right? Is to sharing with you these concepts that help you bring people up or down into the funnel or up the ladder, ascending the ladder to a close. Next one is hot prospect. Now this is definitely my old boss's, Bill Good, his definition. Interested, qualified, and willing to begin the sales process. So that is copyright, trademark, that's Bill Good, 100%. But yeah, that's a great definition. No reason to improve on that. But once you schedule a presentation for what you have to offer, that person knows it's a sales call. They know it's a sales presentation. They know they've begun the sales process. And it's your job to do the work, to develop their interest. We can talk about taking somebody from a lead to a close. There's a whole steps that I have for that. We can do that another time. It's more to do with marketing. This is obviously building true fans. Some of those people you're going to be closing, obviously, but really is a conversation for another area. But yeah, it's essentially the point at which you've done the work, so that the person, you've engaged the person, they got interest, they're reading your materials, they do follow-up calls, you do breakdowns of their business as it stands now, and the areas that they need help in, it becomes obvious, and you start to head towards putting together a package for them, an offer. And then you schedule the presentation, the marketing plan, whatever you want to call it, the business plan, the solution that you're going to offer them, right? That's tailored to them, that you've been taking notes on, you've been developing, you've been finding out what's needed, what they need, steps they need to do, logistics, what might delay their purchase. But then you're going to schedule the presentation, and they know exactly what it is. It's a sales call. And there's going to be an offer at the end of it. So that person is interested, qualified, and willing to be in the sales process. They've set up that meeting for that presentation. Okay, so I have 3 more, right? And again, these are 2 of these are my definite distinct definitions, and it's a concept I've come up with. And the other one is what this webinar is all about, right? This series of webinars, this series of videos, these Facebook Live videos, this whole series is on the true fan, and this distinction comes in. So the last 3 is customer, right? Now, I believe a customer is distinguished by somebody who has purchased a product or a service or some merchandise from you, right? They're distinct from a client because a client has given you like $12,000, $5,000, $25,000, whatever it is. It's a major package. And it's going to be an ongoing relationship. Like you're going to consult them. They've made a major purchase, a house, for example, from you. You get a huge commission, but this is a major relationship now. They are a client of yours because of the significance of the purchase they've made and the depth of the relationship when you do it right. So that's whereas the customer, they bought a t-shirt, they bought a workshop that's done at the end of it, right? But they're not necessarily haven't moved on to being buying a consulting package. Often they will. I've got somebody who's a customer who's about to transition into being a client. They will go from being a customer to being a client. And when you're marketing to them differently. And then this, the third one of the last three, it's in the middle of those. I mean, it could be elsewhere, but I put it in the middle. It goes customer, then true fan, then client. I think someone who's a true fan is going to be happy to move up to that next level, right? To your high-end products and services. So it made sense to me to put it before client. Some people might make major purchases from you, so they are a client before you define them as a true fan. But as you go along, as you execute your development strategies, your drip campaigns, the different things that you're going to do to build the relationship and service them at a high level, they're going to become a true fan. And yeah, they'll keep on buying from you, as a true fan will, so long as you don't upset them. I think Russell Brunson talks about that. Like, as long as you don't upset them and do something to destroy their trust or value or respect for you, they'll continue being your client. They'll continue working with you, and they'll continue giving you money. So obviously this true fan status is something you want to work towards. So here we've got not interested, suspect, lead, prospect, hot prospect, customer, true fan, and client. The 8 levels of address in the marketplace. Now, still, even though I've gone through those, the importance of this particular message, this video and this tool, is that you must address the people in your audience at that level, right? The level that you've discovered them at, right? That you determine they're at right now. So, you know, if they're not interested, then the way you engage them is to, thank you very much, hang up the phone, right? You don't engage them. When they're a suspect, you know, and, you know, there are grades, cold, warm, hot, you know, when they come at you, you know, that could work for you in some cases where you determine what temperature they're at, right? But usually a suspect's pretty cold. So, you know, you certainly don't want to, hey, hey, prospect who can give me money, why don't you sign up for my $25,000 masterclass? You know, let's do this. I love you, man. That's not the way you address them, right? Right. But, you know, so a suspect is you're conservative, light, putting out your elevator pitch. I help people make their reality a dream and their dream a reality, you know. And that's what I'm doing here. And that's why I built my business. You have a question? What does that mean? Oh, well, you know, obviously most people work. I imagine you work, and they agree, you know, but their job isn't always the most fun, right? They don't always love it. You know, they go to work on Monday morning, it isn't always with a smile on their face. But if you're organized, if you get on top of your job, if you simplify it, if you break it down into its essential functions and contribute to solving the problems of the other staff in your area, the people that work to one side of you and the other side, these guys are giving you what you need. You're doing what you got to do and moving on and giving them, the next group, what they need, and doing everything you can to make sure that works smoothly and efficiently. If you start taking responsibility and leveling up and doing what it takes to be the best person in the team, to be a valuable part of the team, to know exactly what it is you do and what gets results, man, you're probably going to get promoted. I would always get promoted because of that sort of thing. I'd always get, you know, if I temped somewhere, they'd always ask me to work permanently. I think I went to permanent at Warner Brothers in like 3 months after temping there, because this was my attitude, right? So, hey, Cody, good to have you join. Yeah, so it's important to address somebody at the level of suspect, where you suspect they're interested in what you do, at that conservative level, simple elevator pitches, the why you do what you do, the how of what you do. And then they reach and show you more interest, that you develop that interest, and, you know, they might recommend that they do go to your workshop or join a group or you know, watch certain things that you've created or read a document you've created. And lunch break, I'm not going to be there at lunch break. I'm going to be there at 1 though to pick up, but it was good seeing you yesterday at lunch. And then thanks for sharing my videos, buddy. So then the lead, you want to address them at the level where you know they've demonstrated interest in the specific products. You can send them information for further reading, further study. Ask them questions about their interest, about why they're looking at that particular product or service, what about it interests them. Then they will start to give you all this information about their problem, the trouble, the need that they have, exactly what you provide, right? What you provide will solve. They tell you all about it. But again, you're addressing them like that. You're not going in for the close. You're not trying to close them right there and then, because they're not there, right? They just have demonstrated interest in what you have to offer. A prospect, now they are interested. They're engaged. This is where you start to talk about them and get very personal. This is where you do small presentations, give your scripts on the solutions that you have, how it would work. Ask them, would that work for you? Does that make sense? Do you see how that, and then they tell you more all about that. But there's more interest, there's more energy. You know, you schedule an appointment, you get their phone number, like maybe they joined the webinar and they send an email. You should have their phone number, but some cases you might not. And you say, look, hey, let's schedule a call. Let's talk about this more. I'd love to go through breakdown, yada, yada, yada. What's your phone number? They give you their phone number because they're engaged and interested, and it's appropriate to ask. Somebody who's a suspect, you don't just go for their number, right? If they've demonstrated some interest, and ask more questions, and then, yeah, they really would like to learn about how to build a fan base. You know, great. You know, let me shoot you an email. The yada, yada, yada breaks it down. Oh yeah, great. You get their email. You might not ask for their cell phone right there, but you send them the piece and you say, well, it would be wise to. So you say, well, look, I'm going to send you this write-up, but you know, sometimes the internet's not what it's supposed to be, or am I going to your junk box or whatever? I just want to follow up with you just to make sure you got it. What number would I call to follow up with you, make sure you got it? And then they give you their number. But that's where they're at, right? They've risen up to where they're interested. So you've got not interested, suspect, lead, prospect, interested and engaged. They might need more help getting more qualified. But this is where you're scheduling meetings and conversations and follow-ups and addressing logistics, and getting to a point where they're going to want to have that sales call, that presentation. And then hot prospect. This is the holy grail, right? In many cases, in most people's minds. I think the holy grail is a true fan, right? And I think people make a mistake thinking that a hot prospect is the holy grail. Closed is more important, right, than hot. But yeah, when you're addressing a hot prospect, this is a full-on presentation. You're doing your whole spiel. You're laying it all out. You want to make sure that they're engaged and responding and agreeing to the different things you go through. It's more in depth, obviously, to go into that. There's more depth for us to go into, but another time. But that's the level of address. It can be intense. It can be fun and playful. You can take some liberties in the conversation in the way you go about it. You can make demands like as trial closes, ultimately, if they don't close there and then. But, you know, you've got a stronger relationship at that point. But you can definitely make them an offer, ask them for money, try to close them, put them on a bigger package or whatever. Say maybe this package would suit them. It's a bit simpler. You know, they might not want the full Cadillac version. Oh, I want the full Cadillac version. What do you mean? I totally want the full Cadillac. Give me the Cadillac version. But, you know, you can take some liberties in the way you dress them, but also you're definitely selling to them, right? And they know it. And you can address them in a manner that is selling to them. So then, true fan, you know, you address these guys enthusiastic, excited, get them to sign up, buy the t-shirt. You got to get it. You're going to love it. I can't wait to see you when you come to the event. We're all going to be wearing our t-shirt, you know, yeah. That can be the level of address to your true fans, right? And then a client. So this is somebody you would address with respect, obviously. But, you know, this is, you're ensuring that you're providing them with value and service, they're getting what they're needed. You're answering their questions. You're offering them solutions, recommending the tools they've already purchased, reminding them of the steps they're supposed to be taking in the process. But also, when they do have a specific hurdle that they're having trouble overcoming, or they want to get faster, they want to get results faster, then you definitely offer them a paid-for solution. You offer them a one-on-one, a coach to take them through more personally, directly, spending much more time with them than what they currently have in the customer service that they're already provided, or a limited number of hours with a coach. You just boost it up, and provide them with much more full service to meet their goal, to address the problems and barriers they're running into, that they've told you about, that you've tried to solve elsewise, but this is now the best solution, and they will do that. Okay, guys, customers also, you want to address them with offers that of levels of service that would turn them into clients, obviously. And obviously customers, we already kind of said, you want to address them at levels where they buy more services and join your masterclass or come to your annual marketing conference, etc. I hope you use this. Hope you found it helpful. I think you will. Making these clear distinctions probably let off a few light bulbs. Areas where you could have done things differently to improve them, or areas where you did things right, and this may be why, and you can see that and know that for a fact now, what it was and the way you were addressing them, why it worked. So next episode, it's going to be on creating content at the level of your suspects and leads, and I look forward to that then. Comment below, tell me what you're learning from this, tell me how you're applying it. I want you to use this stuff and get results from it. And I just want to get likes and hearts, and it makes me feel good when I get notified. Please, help me feel good. But yeah, no, I'd love to get your engagement, obviously, and I'd also love for you to tell me how you're applying this. You can DM me, obviously, and I look forward to the next time when I get to talk to you more about creating the content for your suspects and leads. All right, guys, bye now.